think she's moving. Definitely. Oh yeah. There's where the piston used to be. All the way down to the bottom of the stroke. And just a thin ring of rust around where the top of the piston used to be. Ooh. Hey Henry.
Hi.
I got the piston loose.
It looks like that rust be gone. Got rid of most of the rust.
Well, I ran the grinder through it.
Oh.
Number 6 won't come out, so we'll bump out these other ones, okay, Henry?
Okay.
Got it?
Yep.
This is number 2. The other sticky one was sticky anyway.
Got it. Thank you. There we go. Got it.
Pistons 1 through 5. Remember, number 2 was the other sticky one. Don't look bad to me. Couple, oh, yeah. That one's got a hole blown in it. Yikes. And a busted ring. Ooh, a lot of wear on that. There was another one that was that way. Yep, right there. Busted ring. Blown through. Ah, bummer. Yeah, that one too. That stinks, Henry. Last question, do we have to mark these? That's mark number 1. Nope, they're already marked. Can you tell me, is it poking out yet? I can't see. Oh yeah, I think I can get on it this way. What is that? No, that's stuck. If your pry bar gets stuck, how do you pry it out? Huh? Oh! There she is. I spent hours and hours over multiple days beating on this. I think the aluminum's expanded in there. It feels a lot wider in there. The rings are seized and the aluminum's expanded. That's why it was so tough. Here's where he beat on it underneath. What do we got in here? Not pitted. Wow. Yeah. Much better. Yep. I guess I could blow this bolt off with the torch, but I want to try this first. Come on. Yep. The mice got into the exhaust side. There's some walnut pieces in there. The intake's clean, but all the exhaust side ports have evidence of critters getting in there. I kind of suspected that. Manifold side, there's the nests. Exhaust valve rotators. Keep track of them by valve. Is that the remains of an umbrella valve seal? Or is it a keeper? It's the remains of a valve seal. Yep, the rest is all gone. Intake valve. She should clean up fine. Rust. Here are all 12 valves in order. Front of head number 1 cylinder all the way to number 6. Some things to know: exhaust valves are different than intake valves. Different keepers. These have tapered keepers, these do not. These have a valve rotator on them, the exhaust valves. The intake valves, of course, have a umbrella valve seal, which was gone on all of them. And the valves themselves are different. The intake valves are larger and thinner. When I took them out, I looked at all of them, of course, and they all looked like they could be cleaned up except for this intake valve. It's just, the margins are just too thin on it, I think. And I'm going to have to go looking for a salvaged or new intake valve. These are the bad cylinder number 6 valves. They have the most corroded mating surfaces of any, but you can still see a fairly smooth ring around there. And this is the intake valve off that same cylinder. I just did a quick cleanup of the number 1 cylinder exhaust valve. Not too bad. Not bad at all. And this is a number 6 cylinder intake valve. Pretty pitted, but the seat, or the mating surface, looks pretty good. I've been thinking about this truck project so hard that it overheated my brain and burned the hair off the top of my head. It's a puzzler. In case you don't know me very well, I like to take things that are old and make them work again. I do it with houses. Here's what I started with. Here's what I finished with. I do it with clocks. Here's one I started with, and here's one I finished with. And I do it with old tractors a lot. Here's an old F20 I started with, and here's how it looked when I finished. I'm not your typical gearhead, I guess. I like to be different in how I do things. So a lot of folks would take this truck and drop in a different powertrain. I'm not very interested in that. I'd love to hear this motor run again. And at the end of the last video, I had thought I could just clean up the engine and put it back together, pistons and valves and all that, and that's not the case, and it's a little discouraging. Those pistons are of course not reusable, and I called all around to sources in the US and Canada, went on the forums for old IH trucks. No pistons to be found. This is a BD Black Diamond 288 engine, sleeveless. It runs right in the parent bores. I did find a set of 30 over pistons for it on eBay for a reasonable price, but that means I'd have to take the block out and run it to a machine shop and have it bored. As really as I see it, there's 4 options with this truck. I may have to look at my cheat sheet here. The first one is to find a used piston set, and as I said, I've called around, and we'll see, maybe something will come back. The second option is to pull the block, have it bored, and either use those 30 over pistons that I said I'd found, if they're truly what they're advertised on eBay as, or I could find pistons of a similar dimension or the same dimension, bore the block to match them, put them on the connecting rods. It's kind of interesting. The bulls are making a lot of noise. They need to go out pretty soon. The third option is I could repower it with something else, you know, like Cummins, an LS. Oh, I don't think I would ever do that. Or I could find a 1-ton truck that's got a good frame and engine, maybe a bad cab, and drop this cab onto it. I'm really not interested in that at all because it's been done so many times. The fourth option is what I call the Colin Furs option, which is to do something completely out of the ballpark with this truck. For instance, I could take the cab and everything off of it and just leave the seat and the steering wheel and run around in the fields with just the powertrain and any old engine that I decided to put on it. Something unique that keeps my attention, and that brings me to why I did this project. I didn't do it for any sort of pragmatic reason. I did it because I enjoy this work, and it's a nice break from farm work. It really engages my brain to have something new to think about that's not easy to do. That's what keeps me interested in life. You have to find those things here and there, especially when farm work is the same thing day after day. So I don't know where I'm going to go with this truck, because originally I had a plan, or a sort of alpha scheme and a beta scheme for it, or we'll call them A and B. The A scheme was to just invest as little money as possible to get the engine running. Not a Cadillac rebuild job or anything like that. Clean it up, put it back together, see how it runs, ride it around, get a feel for the truck, and decide what to ultimately do with it, what modifications to make to it, if any, or to finally do the kind of restoration job that I do on tractors, soup to nuts, everything. But to sort of, you know, get a feel for it before I did that. Ski Maze kind of failed because of the pistons. Now some may turn up. I'll just wait on that and see what happens. Meanwhile, I guess this diversion is over for now. I need to get back to farm work. I've fallen behind on several things, most notably getting the bulls out for breeding season and making the last hay of the year. So this is going to sit for now. What else did I have? It's funny how parts are available. This engine, this 282, I gather is not rebuilt anymore. Because when you go out and look for parts, you either find things really cheap, like I found 6 intake valves, new old stock for this to replace the ones, and I actually went ahead and ordered them. They were $40, $37 on eBay, matching part number and everything, the original international part number for all 6 of them, $37. Main bearings, rod bearings, I found those for similarly cheap prices, cheaper than what I expect. But when it comes to things like new pistons, nope. Fuel pump, oddball. New one I found, $500 and something. It's just a truck that's not rebuilt. When you get into Scouts and the smaller trucks, the newer international trucks, yes, but these no. Or people are doing the usual, different drivetrain. It presents a unique challenge, I like that, but I'm not going to be able to, oh geez, the wind's going to blow me away. Not going to be able to get to it for a while. So I hope you found this interesting. It's just a case of tearing down farm machinery, not in a way that is normally done, say, at a dealer on a new car or with modern equipment. I've done a few engines like this now, and they're always a challenge. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Maybe the wind will just blow us all away and the truck.